What's going on, traders? What's going on? Welcome back to another live stream on this September 11th, Thursday. Before we jump into it, I see we got the echo going. Before we jump into it, make sure you view us on the screen. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research, make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. What's going on, chat? What's happening? Good morning, Gregory, Chuck, JB, Lone Wolf, Dwayne. What's happening, guys? Let's hop on to these charts. Markets are moving, getting through some gnarly volatility on this open. Checking a couple things, making sure stream is straight before we get started here. My bad, guys. Let me just check two things here. Yeah, that looks good. Stream's looking good. All right, cool. Cool, man. There we go. All right, guys. Sorry, I have to double check two things there. Okay. Now we got echo again. Okay, we're back. We're back in action. Stream's looking good. All right, guys. Before we get started today, I want to open this one up with a prayer. I usually don't pray on my live streams. I don't pray in the community. I know everybody is of different religious beliefs, and I respect your beliefs, your lack of beliefs, whatever they are. But I think I'm going to start these ones off in prayer. There's just too much going on in the world, and it's my stream, and I'd like to pray. So if you don't like to pray, you can just have a moment of silence with me here. And bear with me because it's round one for me. Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for your countless blessings. We thank you for bringing us all together here in this community. I ask that you remind everybody in this world that we are all brothers and sisters. We are your children, and that we find a way to come together. We find a way to find peace, to communicate, to understand each other, to have respect of each other, regardless of our beliefs. I ask that you bless everybody here with me in this community on the live stream. I'm so grateful that we are all able to be brought together from all over parts of the world. Different religions, different beliefs, that we're able to be here with you today. I ask that you bless us, and again, thank you for all of your countless blessings, and in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Let's get this one started, guys. Let's get this one started. It is Thursday, September 11th. Let's jump into this. We are past CPI at 8:30 a.m. We got this candle that printed pretty large. If you take a look right here, you should be aware, 8:30 a.m., we have red folder news. We're likely to see some volatility. We did see that pretty heavily this morning. We was opened up with a wick to the downside, immediately back up, then down, and now starting to push the high. We are getting ready to test our overnight here at 65.61. Starting to push to the upside. I'm going to hop out to the daily real quick, take a look at this. If you guys don't know, we are here on my 7-pack of straight to funded sim pros with Top 1 Futures. The same damn ones that I've been trading with you guys. Not a bad week so far. Took another W yesterday. Could have held on to it. Definitely could have held on to it. And something that I'm looking at in my review is holding trades, holding winners, but seeming to clip some really nice winning trades a little bit too early. So that's something I'm going to be looking at. Possibly adjusting a little bit, right? We talk about trying to improve, trying to continue to find a way to get better, looking at our results, looking at our data, and being honest with ourselves. And yesterday, we could take a look at it. I'll do some trade review. That would have been however much profit I was comfortable grabbing in an account with consistency rule to the downside. The thing just kept melting. So something to look at for sure. We're not going to capture every tick, right? We're not always going to hit home runs. I had a lot of reasons that I articulated that I wanted to close that yesterday. But got to acknowledge when a trade just continues to run after I dip out. So anyway, here we are to the upside. Big bullish candle forming. We went right back up to that overnight high and looked like we wanted to break above, but we didn't. Trading 65, 57s. Do we have a wick on this? Yeah, we do have a wick on that candle to the downside. Just have to zoom in here. Really uncommon to have a daily candle with no wick on one side. You could just go back through and look at price action on really any chart, but especially on like a really high time frame chart. Pretty dang uncommon to not have a wick on one side of the candle. So if that starts to form without one, it's a real high probability that we come down and we fill that wick. So let's jump down to the lower time frames here, taking a look at the 15-minute chart. Yeah, man, news candle here at 8:30. That put our overnight high and overnight low in. Here was the trading session after yesterday. I got short in here. Again, we'll talk about, I got short actually up here. We'll talk about not holding on to a really, really nice trade to realize more profit. Can't complain when you come out green. You know, I try to be grateful for whatever the market has for me that day, but I've noticed that I've had quite a few that I have held on to and not been able to realize a lot of profit on them. So we'll talk about it today. But overnight session, kind of choppy back and forth after we had a little bit of a recovery here. Bullish price action coming into that news. Big candle that prints. Sets this range here, 26 point, about a 26.5 point range. And now retesting VWAP, continuing to push to the upside. Got really close. Let's hop back to the 15-minute and the 1 minute. Did we trade it actually like to the tick? Yeah, we traded the high here. Yeah, we traded that overnight high to the tick. Bulls are looking pretty strong right off this open. That news looked like it was going to potentially send us lower, but we are so far holding and looking like we want to try to continue this movement to the upside. Overall, if you're new on the streams, you know I like to stay patient off the open. I try not to do anything too crazy, especially not for the first 10 to 15 minutes. Today, I think we could be in for a lot of volatility. We've gotten through now 2 big red folder news events. PPI and CPI were pretty clear coming into the FOMC rate next week. That's on Thursday. So I do think we could see some movement out of these markets. Yesterday was a really interesting one. I had enough conviction to get short. I felt this was likely going to be that, bull trap type of move where we got a lot of bullish action, bullish overnight, retesting VWAP, but just not showing strength, and a couple of the tools that I utilize giving me the conviction to jump in short. I'm not super convinced that we see something like that today. I do think we could take off to the upside. This could be interesting. This definitely could be interesting. If we start to sell off back down through VWAP, really at any point during these sessions, I think we could be in for that gnarly pullback, maybe that correction ahead of FOMC next week. But so far, this is looking strong. This is looking really strong out of the gate here. We got liquidity up above that it looks like we could want to go and grab. Take a look at Bookmap here in just a second. We'll see. Always respect. Thank you, Zach. Amen. Yep, absolutely, man. Yep. Appreciate you guys. Let's see. Let's see what we could do here. Let's take a look at Bookmap here. We've got quite a bit of liquidity to the upside, man. Not an insanely strong CVD. But if we start to push these highs and we head up towards that 65, the 300 on the book that we've had up here since before market open, we could really start to move, man. I do think this could be that wick lower on news and then just a continuation in the upside. Again, a little bit early, don't like to jump in, but just start to frame some trade ideas. We start to push highs on this thing. I wouldn't mind trying to find a way in long here. I do have a higher time frame swing trade rolling in my live account where I am still short. It was something that I wanted to test through my broker changing. I wanted to hold something overnight through session changeover first off and see what that margin requirement looked like. And then the broker that I trade with was sending a ton of emails with like different margin requirements changing. So I wanted to see how some of that looked in real time. I did, but I'm still holding that one short. So it's worth noting. And then again, I'm pretty much long America in all of my stock choices, stock picks. So we've got some back and forth going on there, but for this account, for these accounts, right, it's intraday trading, right? We're trading with prop firms. You can't hold overnight. You can't swing stuff. Technically, I guess you could be a swing trader, opening and closing stuff, for many hours, but you do have to get out before session changeover. They kick you out here 4:10 p.m. Eastern. They allow you back in 6 p.m. So all of that said, because I just like to talk about everything that I got going on. If we dump, we absolutely sell off. I'll be green in a live account, and that's something I'm not going to touch, right? Those are more set and forget type trades. Put them on, let them run, and then I'm able to trade here intraday with you guys on smaller price action moves, right? Still, I wouldn't say I scalp, right? Probably closer to that swing trading with what I do. How wide of a stop loss and take profit compared to other people that you see trading on YouTube or trading anywhere intraday on the U.S. indices. But that's just my style, something that's been working well for me. So interested to see what happens down here, man. Again, not an insanely strong CVD, right? Like we're not positive 11,000 like we were yesterday before we started to absolutely drop off. We don't have a crazy divergence going. Like we don't have a really strong growing cumulative volume delta while price is declining. We do have that lining up. So nothing like huge standout to me here on this chart. The only thing that I'll acknowledge zooming way out, quite a bit of orders that have been down here at the 6,500 level for a while. To the upside, 65.65. I'm not too interested in stuff that comes on right after the open, starts to get moved around. Really don't take that into too much consideration. But this bad boy right here, 65.65 to the upside, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting to take a look at. Yeah, could find our way into a long around VWAP. If you were looking really aggressively, I think we are headed back down towards that level. Again, like yesterday, and that provided some opportunity. Let's look at it on the 1 minute. Even though I got short, let me zoom out so VWAP jumps back in. Even though I got short, right, you definitely had opportunity off of VWAP, right, after the open. I mean, these are nice bounces, 15-point bounces to the upside. If you like to trade VWAP, it's been really over the last few weeks now, I'll say, coming into play. Buyers have stepped in, sellers have stepped in. We've had pullbacks that have been very clean to VWAP. And then even if the trend's not going to continue in an insane way, like yesterday where we did end up selling off, you can kind of take that trade until it doesn't work. You could take it here, you could take it here, and then maybe you take it here and you take the L. But before that, you'd had 2 W's, right? Even the news candle just pushing off of VWAP. Interesting to see. So, if you were looking for a way to get in long really aggressively, you say, hey, this thing is going to be off to the races today. We're going to go crack all-time highs and just drift higher. That's going to be our move. You are looking at the higher time frame trend. I think around this 65.50 level, around VWAP, which on my chart is at 65.51, 65.52. I don't think that's a bad way to find yourself into a long. It's not my trade, not with this news candle low, untested all the way down here. Do we come down lower? Do we just push off here? I don't know, but right off of the open, the first 15 minutes, it's just not something that I'm typically taking. So unless I have a super, super strong reason to do so. So I'm sitting patient, but acknowledging that, here we go. Look, test of VWAP, just like we're talking about. Let's see. Maybe there's a way to grab like 10 points out of this right back towards overnight high. It's something that I've been watching much, much closer and been getting more and more tempted to add to my playbook, like kind of just a really raw VWAP style trade after the open. If we open up above and we're following, bullish price action, look for a buy like aggressively directly off of VWAP because here we go, right? Pointing it out and there's the bounce. But I think we could potentially come lower. I think we could chop up here. I think we could be in for one of those really gnarly days at some point. I'm kind of cautious of it. But if not, if we continue bullish price action, we have CVD to support it. We look like we want to push higher. I could be looking for a way into a long. Look at that. There it is, guys. There it is. There's the VWAP bounce trade playing out. Let's see. Let's see what the market's got for us. Let's see what the market's got for us. NQ headed lower. Made a little profit on that drop, about 35 points. Nice. Very nice, Wolf. Very nice. Short scalp rejection from the round number. Nice trade, Wolf. Felt the rejection from the round number was valid because it cleared news candle pretty quickly. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in front running. Nice. Would definitely still have gone for that myself. I feel you. 100% always look for trades around VWAP. Yeah, man. I really do. There's a reason VWAP's on my chart, right? I have 3 things on my chart. VWAP's one of them. I'm a little bit cautious off the open because sometimes we are just so volatile. I try to stay patient. But I will say there's been 2 things really that I've been reviewing personally. Always trade management. Always my own personal trade management, right? How I can do better that way. And, of course, entries. You're always looking for things. And this kind of comes from, I think it comes from Tanner, the strong trader, Lawrence. I don't want to give it credit to the wrong person. I'm thinking it was coming from them. But essentially, the thought process was throughout all your trading and all the things, when you go back to review and you review the day, journal the easy money setup. What's the trade that seems to repeat itself and on that day specifically is just so clear cut? That tends to play out. Not all the time, right? But something that you just see right in front of your face so dang much. And how can you possibly take that trade? For me, and I kind of try to take from everybody as best I can. For me, that's the VWAP trade. That's a VWAP long or a short, looking for a bounce right off of it, right? Maybe just waiting a split second to see if we slice through it. But really, honestly, just looking immediately long at VWAP in an instance like today, where we are bullish overall on higher time frames, bullish overnight session, bullish in pre-market, bullish coming into the open. We return to VWAP. You look to take that long right off the bat. Maybe a tighter stop loss for that type of trade. For me personally, would probably be tighter. And just look for a bounce right up next to the previous, whatever previous level would be, level of structure, overnight high, which would have played out right here. So, it doesn't line up really with my wait patiently and, wait for a really clean setup, something that I can hold for a longer period of time. But maybe there's something else there, right? Maybe there's something else for a micro trade, right? Or a tighter stop loss type trade. But it could be worth noting. I think, whether or not I do that, I think maybe that could be something interesting from those guys. Because it was an interesting way to think about it. What's the easy money trade? What's the setup that's like stupidly simple that obviously you can only see in hindsight when you're going back to review? But when you review, you can notice that opportunity present itself often, right? How can you possibly look to capitalize on that? Is there a way to capitalize on that? Is there some kind of edge there that gives you a good way to structure risk, right? Does it line up with the way that you view the markets? And that VWAP trade is getting really hard to dispute. Really, really hard for me to dispute. So that's the thought process there. But so far, it's not something that I'm doing consistently day in and day out. And until I decide to say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do day in and day out, whether I take a loss on the next 1, 2, 3 times, I'm gonna have to get a big sample size before I see if this works. I don't do it. Right, that's the way that I think about trading, in large sample size, in series of trades. If you're going to do something one day and then not do it the next day and go back and forth, you're never going to grab onto consistency, right? You have to operate in a way that is somewhat consistent and repeatable. You can use your discretion. You can use your intuition the way that I do. It's my belief. That stuff works well for me. But there has to be some repeatability or some consistency, right? Otherwise, you're taking a trade on Monday and it works out well. And then you take the same trade on Tuesday and then it doesn't work out. And then you don't take it on Wednesday and then it works out really well. And then you take it on Thursday and it doesn't work out. And, you're just not applying any consistency. You're not able to ever actually capitalize on that pattern playing out in the long run. You're just getting chopped up with the randomness of the market on the short term. But here we go. Off of VWAP. There's the push off of VWAP. I was talking about it. Showed the yesterday example. 11.5 points. Definitely something that I'm going to be looking at. Maybe adding to the arsenal. But this one is going to be different for sure. So let's see. Back up towards the highs here. Not a super strong CVD, man. I don't, similar to yesterday, I'm not jumping in this long. Definitely not. There's the echo. Sorry, guys. I'm not jumping in this long yet. It's not something that I'm ready to hop into. I'd like a sweep of crazy lows, some kind of pullback. Again, acknowledge the opportunity could be off of VWAP for a long. It definitely was very nice. Something I'll be looking at a little bit further, maybe coming into next week after some review this weekend, but not in this yet. Let's see, going to grab these 65s, right? We were talking about this on Bookmap. Interesting level, cracking prior day high. Here we go, man. Pushing highs here. Above the news candle high. Very bullish. Yeah, man, this thing might just take off and be a run for the hills type of day. Not sold on it just yet. We got some liquidity getting moved around from the 70s, right around the 68s, excuse me, that same stuff that I said I don't really trust. That's kind of coming to fruition right there. Interesting. But leaving the candlestick chart up as we push this high. 65 was a magnet. Yeah, man. That's what we're looking at here, guys. I'll go through and read the chat for a second. Simple, man. Simple stuff from Bookmap. Was looking at these 65s. It's a key level, right? Right above, right above the highs. So maybe you don't need Bookmap to tell you that. I did say, another note, I don't really pay too much attention. You can go back and watch the video. I don't pay too much attention to stuff that comes on and off the book right after the open. Here's why. Take a look. I didn't stay on the book. I got moved around up here, over here. It could be spoofing, could be manipulation, but whatever it is, not really reliable. You start to get a feel for that when you just watch Bookmap for long enough, I think. But yeah, 65's traded out. Trading these 65.70s right now. Pretty strong. Not an insane CVD, but growing. This just is a bullish move right off the open, man. Return to VWAP, bounce, and come back up. I don't know that I have the the testicular fortitude, and is like the smarter way to say balls, but I think it was David Paul that used to say that I thought was really funny. I don't know that I have it to short this one today. It would really I'd have to have something else like yesterday. I'd have to wait a little bit longer. It would just be fading such an extremely bullish move. I think there's plenty of people that are going to pile in short up here, right? Sweep a prior day high. You got a great cheap trade. If it doesn't work out, it goes against you and you're dead wrong. We're pushing highs. I think it's too counter for me. Here we go. A little bit of rejection here. It'd be way too counter for me to pile in short just yet. I'd have to be waiting for some more. I think at this point, for me, I would just be trying to pick a top, not enough data. Let's see. Yeah, we're talking about different stuff here. Do you watch different time frames? Yeah, I do watch different time frames. So I have 2 time frames up right here. This is the 15-minute and the 1-minute. If you missed the beginning of my stream here, I typically start on the daily. Take a look at price action, market structure, trend, everything that's forming on the daily, because I believe that plays an important role. From there, I hop down to the 15-minute. Had a couple people asking me questions yesterday. Jump back down to the 15-minute. If I had one time frame, if you said, Zach, you can only ever use one time frame, I'd pick the 15-minute. I think you can get an extreme, you can get a great idea of the higher time frame trend. You get a lot of data on your chart when you zoom out. And then if you zoomed all the way back in, you can still get a pretty good feel looking at the current session and maybe prior day of the price action that's forming. But I do also like to watch a 1-minute chart. I don't have to only have one time frame. And a preferred setup, something that I've been doing, man, still continuing to push. Quick return to prior day high and then bullish move. Yeah, this looks like I'm going to get cooked on the live account trade. That's part of it. I like to watch the 1 minute. I like the 15-minute for the higher time frame view, right? Perspective, what's going on relative to yesterday's session. And I really like the 1 minute for a more zoomed in look at price action and market structure. What's your VWAP anchor to? This is the session VWAP. This is just the standard session VWAP. If you go to the indicators tab and you type volume weighted average price or VWAP, VWAP, you can get that on there. It is anchored to the open of the session, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's where it resets. Dang, man, this bad boy is strong. Strong out the gate here. Yep. Yep. That's the interesting one, man. That's the one that I'm really going to have to consider. I talk about it a lot. I view it a lot. I don't know that I would be comfortable putting a full risk trade on and just making that my one trade. I think I'd have to size down, and that would be like a half risk type trade for me. But man, there you go. 80 ticks, 20 points off VWAP. It's not always going to present itself. It's definitely not always going to play out like that. But in certain instances like this, and even yesterday, right before we sold off, it presents a really interesting trade. Very simple, fairly objective setup. So it's definitely something I'm going to be looking at. But on this so far, I have no way in long. I'm not going to pile in just yet. I don't know. I might be a wait patient type of deal for this morning. I think that's what I'm going to be doing. Pushing off a VWAP, starting to return to prior day high again, but this thing's looking strong, man. This thing is looking strong. Not a ton of liquidity above and below price now that's not getting moved around. We got some with the 75, some with the 80s. Some going up towards the 90s, but that looks like some stuff that could be getting moved around, kind of choppy. It looks like what came from the 65, 68s. Down below, same thing. We got some stack of orders that looks like it's getting moved around. Nothing insanely stand out just yet. Overall, looking strong on CBD, positive 5,100, 5,200 right now. Not insane, but growing as price is headed to the upside. So I don't have a strong way to find a short. Don't have a really good indication for a short, at least not yet. For a long, no way to structure risk on that. VWAP would have been it. But, I'd have to really go back test, forward test, think on this. Where do you go with a stop loss on something like this, right? If the thesis is that VWAP is going to hold and we're going to bounce, you probably don't need to go so wide with it. Probably don't need to go below lows if it's not something that you're going to hold on to for forever. Maybe it's, a fixed 6, 8, 12 point stop loss. Pretty tight, because if we sell off through VWAP, your thesis is wrong. We don't bounce there. But it's definitely an interesting one for sure. Went short on NQ based on RSI divergence. Nice. 52 was support. Yep. It was. Zach, what's up? What's up, Divine? What's up, man? 4-hour opening. 65 is a magnet. We talk about that. Depends on how and when the market makers get active. Yeah, Wolf. Talk about the market makers. Appreciate you guys hopping on, as always. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming to hang out. Thanks for being part of the community. Seeing if we can't catch another W, man. Can't really complain. Haven't had a bad week. Have not had a bad week of trading with you guys. So no complaints just yet. I don't have a long on this, and I don't have a long on this, and I could find a way in. You could find any easy way in short, but I don't think that I would want to step in front of this for a bit longer. I could certainly see a pullback down to VWAP, a pullback down to the temporary volume point of control that's forming down here, all the way back down to these 50s. But it'd be a pretty bold play to step in front of this if I really didn't have anything else lining up for me. Obviously, looking left, we don't have anything, right? We're pushing highs, trading 65, 70s. You know, we're above yesterday's high, prior day high, overnight high. There's really no structure to trade off of looking left. Sometimes Bookmap can help me out with that. I think that I'd potentially be looking short off of the 65.80s for, if nothing else, a pullback. If we pull back before then and we find some buyers, could potentially look for a long, a continuation type of long. But before then, could potentially be looking short. This is, bullish movement. Not an insane change from the open. So I could certainly see this thing pulling a similar move like yesterday, man, where we just try to fake everybody out, create this big bull trap, and rip everybody's face off back down to the downside. So I don't mind looking for that. It would just have to be pretty strategic. It would have to be a strategic short. And so far, the only thing that that I've seen CBD starting to drop off here, potentially off the 80s. Like if we wicked up to the 80s, 65 80s, and potentially started to drop, I could see a short off there. I could get a wide stop loss on it. Just, if it's going to take off and we're going to go trade through these 66 hundreds, then I'm completely dead wrong, right? We're just going to go rip another 25 points higher. It's going to be a big bullish day. But it would allow me a really good way to structure risk. But yeah, I'm not ready to step in front of this just yet. Not yet. I think that's probably the only thing that I have setting up. Again, it's a pretty heavily reliant on Bookmap trade just because I don't have a lot of structure looking left. I think if we crack up there, I'm going to look for that. I think we could potentially go trade out the 65.90s. There's a little bit more on the book that came up there, but it looks like the BS order that's been getting moved around all morning, so I'm really not too concerned. If I scroll back, there's not too much up there. The 65.80s did have 100 on the book earlier this morning. So I could see that as a potential area where we find some sellers, price is probed high enough, and we're ready to start to pull back down. Again, CVD helped me a little bit. We are actually starting to get a little bit of divergence where we don't have a ton of buy volume continuing to drive this thing higher. So that's going to be my first trade idea. Near these 65.80s for a potential short. I run the risk of this thing just grinding higher, right? I always like to talk about the opposite side of this trade. I run the risk of it just absolutely grinding higher. I run the risk of buyers just continuing to step in and say, hey, we got all the news for this week. We are going to just rip this thing higher. We're going to drive today and get my face ripped off, right? But yeah, CBD is actually starting to look good. Starting to drop off a little bit. Yeah, man, I think it's either 65.80 or above 6,600 today. If we don't find sellers and start to turn off the 65.80s, at least for a pullback down towards VWAP, here we go. 6,600s could be in store. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. We got a bunch of people hopping on. What's up? What's up, everybody? Appreciate you guys hopping on, man. Drop some W's and like for Zach. Heck yeah, appreciate you, man. Smash the like button, smash subscribe. Do whatever you want to do. We'll probably run some giveaways later. Didn't talk about it just yet. We hopped right into the markets. Said a prayer for peace this morning and jumped right into these markets. But we'll probably be doing a giveaway for an Ignite 50K automatic funded account from Top One Futures. We ran one yesterday and the day before that. We'll probably run another one today. But so far, I am taking a look at this potential short play. Again, this is pretty aggressive. This is very aggressive. This is very aggressive, man. I mean, look at the price action, right? I'm fading a really big bullish move. It's something I would give some room to breathe because I think we can still push higher. But I'm looking to try this thing. I'm looking to try this thing if we hit the 65.80s. We got a lot of liquidity up there. We don't have that much more. I think if we don't stop here, we're headed all the way up here, in which I'm dead wrong. I don't have any way to structure risk to the upside. I just don't have a long that's going to set up at all. I don't really want to be long up here. I would have wanted to be long from down here. Here's your VWAP trade playing out, 25 points higher. Talked about adding something like that to the playbook. I'm going to have to review it hard after today and what I've seen over the last few weeks and months, would be potentially a little addition, but I'm eyeballing a short up here first. Again, pretty dang aggressive. Let's see. Price may test up and down. Zach, a lot of orders stacking up on both sides. Yep, you can see that. If you do them, ICT, there is... No, I don't trade ICT. SMT divergences. I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing you just mean a divergence between NQ and ES, right? Let's look at it real quick. Try not to miss a trade setup here because I'm getting close. Yeah, right. NQ looking more bearish. I guess that's what we mean by divergences. YM. Ooh. YM shot out of a cannon today. Absolutely shot out of a cannon. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Let me kill Discord here. Yeah, I'm looking for a short up here, man. CVD dropping off. I said the 80s. I don't know if we fill that. CVD dropping off pretty heavily right here. Got close, man. 79.25. Come on. Yeah, started to find some sellers up here. I'm gonna get short on this, guys. I'm gonna get short. Definitely need room above the 80s, but that's some selling pressure stepping in. CVD starting to fall off a cliff. Shorted the market yesterday, made money. We're going to short it today, see if we can make some money. That's my play. Was looking at the 80s, that entire time. If we come right back through the 80s with a ton of aggression, could look pretty dicey for me, but that's going to be my play. Like I said, I think we either find some sellers up here where I'm getting short right now, or we continue all the way through and we're above 6,600 today. That's my thought for the day. Just basing this on price action, market structure, order flow, all the basic tools that I use. Get the 15 minutes. Sorry, guys. I like to reset the VWAPs, make sure volume and everything is looking cool on these. But yeah, we started to turn really nicely there. Quite a bit of selling volume. If this gets absorbed and we just blast, we could absolutely blast off. But I think this presents a pretty nice trade back down towards the 65.50s. potentially even lower. Even if we're going to continue higher, I could see a really nice clean out move coming from ES where we come, take out everybody that's getting long, right? The late longs, shake out all the weak hands, and then potentially push even higher. But we could just be off to the races today. Again, it is a Thursday after news, after 2 red folder news events. The grind higher day is definitely a risk here. But that's what I'm putting on. Quick play, big balls. Yeah, I always get bold play and all that type of stuff. You put your trades on, right? You put them on as they come. For every buyer, there's a seller. There's always going to be a reason to say you should do the opposite thing, right? I've traded for long enough. I've had plenty of the you look like a genius moments and plenty of the you look like an idiot moments, right? There's a ton of those. So you put your trades on as they come. You let them play out. That's all we can do, right? Took some really nice W's this week. You got to take your L's with your W's. Maybe today, I'm dead wrong. My approach getting aggressively short up here off of some levels of liquidity is just not going to play. My read of CVD is not going to help me. Even if we fill these, we're just going to continue higher and continue to blast towards 6,600. Maybe we're just going to completely disrespect this CVD, dropping off really aggressively and finding sellers right at the 65.80s that we were looking at. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen for any reason. So that's what you have to acknowledge, I think. If you acknowledge that, you don't get so mad if you take a loss, right? You don't place too much weight on any one trade. You are able to think in a large sample size of trades. You're able to read the market, more objectively. It doesn't cause all of this fear. I've been wanting to keep this just under 1,000, so I'm adjusting my stop loss by 1 tick. Nobody sue me. We're gonna go 65.93 and a quarter. Let's see. We were talking. I was missing some messages. Zach, what is the lot size you use, micro or mini, for a 50K account? We were talking about that earlier this week. I think for a 50K account, for the most part, micros are going to serve you better. You just probably need more flexibility. Maybe you're scalping for really low time frame price movements, really small price movements, and you can trade minis. But it doesn't come down to what contract you want to trade. The question is, what is your risk per trade? What is your stop loss value going to be, right? Is it $200? Is it $1,000? Is it $500? Based on wherever your stop loss has to go for your strategy, your approach, which we don't know what that is, you position size accordingly. That's the way that I would start with it. I don't know why in the futures market it's common to say, I trade 3 minis or I trade 5 micros, right? Like, okay, well, what happens when volatility triples, right? Do you still trade the same and then you widen out your stop loss and you take on triple the amount of risk? Or do you just have an extremely tight stop loss on some days relative to volatility, or extremely wide? For me, I am on these accounts. You've watched me size down, so I won't say it all the time. But I'm traditionally right now, when I pick my one spot to enter, which I did on this trade, it's pretty much $1,000 risk trade with 1 mini, meaning about a 20-point stop loss. Plenty of times on here when the market starts moving, I chop that. I drop right down to minis, right? I've done it recently. Drop right down to minis, trade 5 minis, micros, 5 micros, 7 micros, whatever it is, right? Adjust for volatility. There'll probably be times where I'm going to trade 2 minis, right? Because I don't need a 20-point stop loss. I can go with a 10-point stop loss or something like that. So, but to answer the question that I think you're asking, I would give yourself some room to work in these accounts, right? If you have a $2,000 max loss limit on a 50K account, how many days of losing in a row do you want to give yourself before the account's dead? And how many trades do you want to be able to take per day, right? I would go to the worst case scenario. And I think it also depends a little bit on your average risk to reward and win rate, right? If you have a really low win rate and a high risk to reward, you know you're going to need to survive a lot of losses, right? You're probably going to need to survive a ton, and giving yourself only a couple trades before the account's gone is not a good move, right? So some of that comes into play. But I would start conservative on it. That's the way that I would go with it for the most part. Good question, though. Let me know if that makes sense, if you want me to clarify anything. Yeah, you guys are trolling with stuff. I see. Do you use Edgeful? Orb only gets to 2x 48% of the time and 2.5x 22% of the time. So that's about the 80s. Nice, Gregory. So I was partnered in the past with Edgeful. I do like the stats. I think they could be very helpful. It's really interesting stats. I'm not working with them now, and I don't use it. But I think it'd be really helpful. But interesting to note, right? You can note different average daily ranges and session ranges and kind of understand what the average extremes are. Something that I really liked from Edgeful was the initial balance. The first 1 hour of the trading session, which we're coming up on, there's some really strong stats behind that. Or at least there was when I was looking at it, right? Because the market continues to be dynamic and adjust. And just because something happened over the last year doesn't mean it's going to happen at the same percentage over the next year. I will note that I feel like a lot of those stats are taken as this is a strategy and this is all you need to trade or be profitable. And I don't think that's the case. I think that you need to combine it, right, with something else. But knowing, for example, that the first 1 hour opening range, right, from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 10:30 a.m. Eastern, knowing that more often than not, right, objectively, based on the last year or two or three of data, and I don't know what the exact percents are anymore, but it was pretty strong when I was looking at it. More often than not, we only break one side. We typically do not break both sides, okay? That in itself can be helpful to frame. If we break one side, again, strong statistic that we don't come back down and break the other side, but we also typically extend by a certain percent or amount of points or ticks, right? We typically don't just sweep it. If we break, based on what side forms first and last and where we put the high and the low in, you can tell which side is more likely to break first. Just statistics, right? Just stats. Does that mean that we never just sweep the high and come back down and break the low and sell off? No, right? Small, percent, right? Does it mean that always one side is going to break first or always we're going to extend by that average amount? No, but these are objective statistics, right? And I think of it in the same way that I would go back through and recognize a pattern. That's what it's telling you. It's just telling you it in numbers, right? Again, is that enough to like just do something with every single day, crazy objectively? I don't think so. I think you probably want to combine some other things in there, but I think it could be helpful. So I think Edgeful is a great tool for that. Again, not partnered with them and affiliated with them anymore. I was, but if you're interested in the stats behind some of that stuff, I think it'd be helpful. And again, I think some of it can just help. It's some of the stuff that you're looking for in backtesting anyway, right? Kind of just throws it right in your face for you, really easy, creates some reports. But yeah, also like what you were talking about, Orb gets to 2x 48% of the time and 2.5x 22% of the time, right? You can get some averages in the way that price moves. Turn my computer off, just following from the phone. Nice. Done for the day. So I'm back to busy trolling here. Yeah. Hold on, it jumped. Morning, David. What's up? Maybe full risk with 5-point stop loss instead of 10-point. Cut your stop loss in half since if VWAP breaks, kind of avoids your process. Yeah. Oh, Kobe, you were talking about. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Pally. Good morning, Jess. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we were talking about this down here. Yeah, I think so. I think we were talking about the VWAP trade, the VWAP long, the VWAP short. It's something it's not something I'm going to look at. It's something I've been watching for a while. I used to incorporate VWAP a lot more aggressively here on ES. It's not exactly the way that I'm using it anymore. But for instances like a day like today, again, if you go back, I was pointing out that if we return to VWAP, we have a pretty good chance of bouncing and maybe finding some buyers and doing what we did, but not a trade that I'm taking every day. And Kobe suggested potentially running just, a tighter stop loss, right? Maybe, not a 20-point or 10-point stop loss, something tight, because if we do break and start to push through, it's invalidates the idea, right? The idea that we're bullish overnight, bullish in pre-market, bullish higher time frame structure, bullish off the open, right? Bull, bull, bull. We're looking for buys. We want to get into a long. We are above VWAP. If we return to VWAP, the thesis is we may, based on basic pattern recognition, find some buyers at that volume-weighted average price and at least maybe get a bounce, right, for a 1-to-1 or whatever R multiple trade you want to look for. And I think you could do that with a tighter stop loss, for sure. For sure. 8 a.m. 15-minute candle high and low with VWAP inside that range is super strong. Nice. 8 a.m. 15-minute candle high and low with VWAP inside that range. I'm an idiot, Kobe. What does that mean? You mean anchoring to that candle or looking at the candle low and high? Let me know what just clarify that a little bit for me. Alan, what's up, man? Thank you for the prayers, Zach. And man, appreciate you. This was a clean chart in the first 40 minutes. Great for momentum trading, but no surprise. You sat out prior to the short as you tend to prefer mean reversion. I do tend to prefer mean reversion. If I get into a continuation trade, it's where I would like a continuation trade off of VWAP. I don't really love on the U.S. indices getting involved early, right? And this is what this is. Getting involved early in a directional type of a trade, looking for an extension in the middle of a lot of price action, because so often we just tend to have these volatile movements, these wicky back and forth movements before we pick a direction. And I've played that game a lot in the past, and it's very frustrating to get stopped out, right, and then have a big continuation. And maybe that's just style, that's just a preference. I do prefer a from the extreme, right, above or below, back to the mean type of trade for a couple of reasons, but one of them is what I'm describing there. I'm dead wrong if I'm wrong, right? I'm wrong on this trade if I'm wrong. We are, if we come all the way through the 90s and trade higher, this is just an insanely bullish day. There's no reaction here. I typically on these trades am not stopped out and then price just rips in my direction. That's just usually I've waited patiently enough. I wait for a level to get hit. If we don't find some reaction around that level, I'm typically very wrong. On this trade so far, interesting level. I do pay attention to this. And some people, maybe would argue that this is not worth a damn. What happens after I enter the trade, right? Did I enter like right here and I have no reaction at all? We don't even have a fight that's put up between buyers and sellers. We have no consolidation. We have no reaction and then a push off. Like, does it just continue ripping in one direction? At very least here, if I do take the L, I'm able to go back and look and say, okay, you did get involved at somewhat of an interesting area on the chart where we've had some fight put up. If buyers give it up, sellers give it up, they give it up. We just continue higher. But I could see potentially what I'd really like to see on this one is not just a drift lower even. Love to see this. That would be looking really good. Clean out of liquidity that's still up here at the 80s. We trade through the 85s, like last ditch up here at the 90s, but that would look really ugly. Really ugly. If we get through the 85s on another push up into the 90s, I think I am very wrong, and this is just going to be a big positive green day. But we'll see. We got time before that. Yeah, so far CVD has continued to drop off. Buy volume has completely fell off. Right. This is one of the ways that I use cumulative volume delta. Does this mean we're going to turn? Right? Does this happen all of the time and 100%? No. Not at all. I always like to acknowledge this stuff, especially when I'm talking about something maybe that a lot of people don't pay attention to or that could be new to you, right? There's no magic. There's nothing that provides some crazy percent of certainty that anything's going to happen. It's just not out there, right? You find some tools that you like and you utilize them. I like to utilize nowadays, it's something more recent, because I haven't been in the futures market for forever, Bookmap, order flow, right? For a couple of reasons. Areas of interest on the chart by way of levels of liquidity above and below, and CVD. I stared at CVD for a long period of time before I started really applying it to my trading the way that I am right now. And again, I acknowledge we could blast off from here despite CVD completely dropping off and, this looking like sell volume is overpowering buy volume because that's what this is, calculating, right? It's a cumulative volume delta, the difference between buy and sell volume from wherever you anchor it, whatever starting point of your Bookmap, or if you set it to reset. Sure, we can still blast off, right? Could be absorption, whatever, we just go. Oftentimes when I see what we're seeing right now, where CVD drops off at an area of consolidation or a divergence, right? Not to be confused. I really don't like to use that word because people rely too heavily on divergences, RSI or MACD and all that crap. But if price is slowly rising and CVD is continuing to drop off, that would be a divergence. Oftentimes what happens, not always, but oftentimes, sellers step in, right? Sellers are continuing to step in at this level. We're showing sell volume outweighing buy volume at this area. Could indicate that buyers are losing strength. But forget about the narrative behind it. When CVD starts to go lower as price is staying still or going higher, oftentimes price comes lower, right? I like to do everything from a dumb guy pattern recognition perspective. I don't try not to concern myself too much with the crazy market narrative or what's going on behind the scenes, which can be valid and helpful to you as a trader, maybe. I just find it slows me down. So when I catch myself talking about it like that, I try to just bring it back to pattern recognition. So I'm recognizing that we are dropping off on CVD. Going to be interesting to see what happens up here. Again, I wouldn't mind a wick up, take this out, and then a gnarly reaction on the downside. That would look really good. Look really good for my trade. If we just push higher, we just start pushing through, we see this jump, we see a lot of buy volume. Could be ugly. Could be ugly for the trade. Anyone for a cup of tea? I mean, fresh out of leaves. Talking about the tea leaves. Yep. You guys are funny. Let's see. Zach missed the first 30 minutes. Are we bullish or bearish? What's up? Right now, I'm short. Overall, higher time frame trend is to the upside. I am looking for this mean reversion style trade. Talked about it before it happened. Talked about it after it happened multiple times. Trying to find a way in near the open on very bullish price action off of VWAP would be the way that I would do that. Didn't do that, so not looking for a way in here late to the upside. My opportunity is to try it short and see what the market's got for me. So I'm looking for this to potentially come back down around VWAP, maybe a slice lower, for some sellers to step in, buyers to fail to be able to drive this thing higher. But we are at risk for that slow grind day to the upside. I think that's a important to note piece. Let's see. Personal lockout for the last night. And so I can't trade the new account challenge. I'm not liking that I'm locked out. But hey, it's probably for the better. It's almost always for the better. Almost always for the better. Almost always for the better. Hello, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Found the info from... I took info from them and made my own dashboard. Gives me some things. Might be percentage more likely to occur. Yeah. Absolutely, Gregory. Yeah. I think, especially for newer traders, right? If you just don't have a lot of, or maybe even experienced traders that are looking to add some more of that statistics to their trading, I think that stuff can be helpful. We were talking about edgeful and statistics. Let's see. Here we go, making a run for these 80s. we're likely to see a jump here if we crack this. I think we're likely to see some volatility. Could be a gnarly wick to the upside right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see something wick up. Going to be interesting. Kobe, what's up? Yes, high and low wick of the 8 a.m. 15-minute candle, usually about 5-point range. And if VWAP is inside of it, price respects it heavily like today. Oh, okay. Interesting observation. Interesting observation. I understand that. Yep. Looking at the 8 a.m. 15-minute candle. Interesting. Yeah, for me, I like a VWAP trade, or I would be interested in a VWAP trade if we are showing a really strong trend, right? Just zoomed out, and some of that is subjective. Here we go, trying the 80s. Zoomed out, if we are holding a really high time frame and then middle time frame and low time, we have a real strong trend. Let's just make it simple. A buy or sell off of VWAP on a bounce in that direction is an interesting setup for me. Now, if we slice through VWAP, oftentimes that's an indication that we're going to continue in that direction. So I do like that trade as well. But the idea that I'm talking about here essentially is strong trend in one direction, that's really pushing through on a lot of time frames. We want to find a way in for a continuation near the open, right? Maybe a little bit into the open. A buy or a sell right off of VWAP is often an interesting play. Just works for me. Yeah, man, that's it. That's all you needed to work for. That's the only person you need to work for. Something simple, objective, right? A way to find some repeatable setups. That's it. Dang, man. Yeah, here's the push, guys. Through the 80s into the 82s, like I said, I think if we were cracking this high, find some volatility here. If we get through the 85s really aggressively, last ditch effort for me is right around the 90s. But yeah, CBD didn't go crazy on that one. We did rise on that. It would be really uncommon if we just didn't do anything. Took out the 80s here. Let's see what happens. Are we just in for the big bullish day? And I'm stuck fading it. We're fixing to find out, as they say in the South. As we hang out and watch this one go. Sorry, guys. Checking a couple things here. Checking a couple messages. See what we could do. We'll see what we could do. Welcome. Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Thanks, Scott. Welcome to the show, everybody. I took the info from them. Yeah, we talked about that. Would you add to your position? No, I definitely don't. Definitely don't add in drawdown. That's to get a better entry. No, not part of my playbook at all. I find here's why, for a couple reasons. Number one, adding to positions that are moving against you, unless it's pre-planned, for the most part, means that you're increasing your risk when your trade's not working out, right? Averaging down. And I think outside of the general like investing idea of dollar cost averaging and for really long-term holds, unless it's pre-planned, like unless I said I'm going to start scaling in at 73 and then if we hit 80, I want to scale in even more, right? I had the idea already planned before the trade went on, and I had reasons for doing that. Adding to losing trades for the most part is just a nightmare. It just does not work out well. I know of almost no intraday day traders that do that regularly with success. Some guys and girls are very dynamic and they allow themselves to pull some really unique stuff. But for the most part, averaging into losing trades is a losing approach. There's a saying that goes, losers add to losers, winners add to winners. And I do like that. It can feel good to add to a loser because now it only has to come back down this much for me to be in profit. It can feel like, well, if it was a good entry at this price, it's an even better entry at this price. But in general, it just is building the wrong habit of putting on more risk when a trade in the market is telling you, it's disagreeing with you, it's telling you that not working, right? Not working. So no, not in my playbook at all. In the past and doing different things, I've added to winning trades. I do enjoy doing that. I think it's the exact opposite, right? And it's what most traders struggle to do. And that's a way to add and increase risk when the market's showing you that you are right? But adding to losing trades, again, if it's not pre-planned, if it's not part of your approach, not something that you have back-tested and forward-tested, and you have a good way of controlling risk, for the most part, just does not work out well. Yeah, man. Through the 85s, yes. This don't look good for me on this one, guys. If you guys know my trade management, I don't touch my trades once they're on as far as doing anything in drawdown. Someone asked if I add to a trade to get a better entry. Nope. I also don't close early. It's not part of my approach. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to try to do it with some consistency. If I allow myself some discretion, I talk about where that is. For trades in drawdown or anything past the stop loss, past the entry to the stop loss, it's do nothing. It's just wait. I find that closing out trades early for a partial loss, cutting losers, right, hurts me more than it helps me, right? If I get to a point where doing something is hurting me more than it helps me in a very clear-cut way over a large sample size, like going stop loss to break even, I attempt to not do that. So it's a sit and wait and watch. 88's a little bit of liquidity, but we have more and more stuff up above. The 6600s look interesting. Yeah, not a strong CVD at all, but just continuing to push higher. So again, if we don't find, like I said before, if we start to push the upside, if we don't find sellers at this point, I'm going to say off the 88s, 88.75s, where I'd be able to survive potentially a little bit of a wick up here. I think I'm cooked, and I think we're running up above the 6600s, right? And here I said around the 80s for a turn back down or through the 6600s. So I traded for around the 80s for a turn back down, and it's looking like one of those days, man. I gotta say, coming into this one, after watching news after watching news come out and then the market come right back up to that high and then start to break it, after two red folder news events coming late into the week where we have FOMC the following week, just some of the way that typically plays into price action and market structure and market movements. It's following my approach to look for a potential short off of an area of interest if I have really no opportunity for a long at all, no good way to structure risk. But I gotta ask myself a hard question about getting short on this one from the area that I did. Just oftentimes, and like I said, the risk for today could be that slow grind to the upside. After news is absorbed and we are remaining bullish, getting short like this could be a dicey move. So it'll be a little bit of review on this one for sure. Again, it's kind of unique, right? I don't take too much consideration. I don't place too much weight on news, right? As far as like, I don't know what the number was for PPI or CPI. I don't really care. But I do pay attention to when those news events are. Are we before, during, after, and when's the next one? That type of a deal, because the market often has patterns in the way that it moves, right? We often can find, and you can look for this for yourself, that ahead of, right before large red folder, high impact news events, the market often chops. It often consolidates, right? It's often slow, choppy price action. During the news events, like right during them, oftentimes we have volatility, right? I look down here. No big surprise that we had a huge candle print. After they're digested and there's not something else coming out after, we could be in for some trending larger movements. And I faded that, right? I faded that today because the trending larger movement right now is to the upside. So I kind of disregarded that. So it's worth a note. How will taking that into consideration and how strong of a bias do you want to carry with that? Because it goes the other way, right? It could prevent you from hopping into a really good trade, executing on your approach because you're taking in to consideration, where we are based on high impact news events too much. And you're anticipating, you turn into somebody that says, well, I don't trade on No News Monday because it's choppy. And then I never trade Fridays because it's bad. And then I never trade here and there. Or I do something so specific every single time. It's Mondays, I'm only going to be a range trader with no news because the market chops. And then you get smoked when the market, decides to move, decides to pump, right? Or I could say after high impact news events, I only am a trend following trader and I only look to trade in the direction with a big extension, right? I think you start to create these unhealthy biases that can also just not work well rather than just looking at price in front of you. But note, I always try to articulate my thoughts, right? As I'm going through the trading day. And I'm always looking for ways to improve, right? Any ways to capitalize on winners better, to, avoid losing trades to the best of my abilities. If there's a way to filter them, you're always going to have losses. You're always going to have trades that don't work out. But I try to be a harsh critique of myself. I also try to have, I hear Rip say this a lot, a goldfish memory. I try to come back to the chart the next day fresh at equilibrium without too much recency bias. So a lot of conflicting thoughts there, but it's about finding this balance. Here. So some of the thoughts for today, though. Let's see. Yeah, last ditch up here, guys, for this opportunity, just based on where my stop loss is and relative to that 6,600 level. We don't find sellers up here. I'm pretty much cooked on this. It's my belief. Oh, excuse me, excuse me. Crazy. Yeah, I see you guys are talking about a bunch of stuff in the chat. Thoughts on risk management. So we're giving trade room. So glad tried. Yeah. Talking about risk management. You know, it's personal. It's personal to your approach, right? Personal to your strategy, right? There's so many different ways to do this. What I find, and you can hop in the Discord. If you guys aren't in the Discord, you can hop in the Discord as well. Talking about risk management on this one, giving trades room to breathe, comes down to your own personal approach, right? For me, and I talked about this a little bit, I do some big reviews. I continue to review, and then I do some big reviews, and I really try to note any areas for adjustments. For me, on ES, I tend, just in general, in my trading, I tend to do better the more I widen out, the more I allow myself more time in the market, rather than trying to time the market, is a saying there. And that often means wider stops, wider take profits, giving the trade room to breathe, giving the trade room to do what it needs to do, holding on to losses and winners, to really fully realize either that larger loss or larger profit, rather than multiple trades, tighter stop losses, tighter take profits. Maybe it's my skill set, maybe it's my disposition towards holding trades. I think I'm playing into a strength because I can hold trades for a long period of time. But I think review your data, right? And, make adjustments as you see fit over large sample sizes. One note, I was talking about this morning. One note, let me actually go back and see what my actually entry and exit was. Yeah, so here was screenshot from yesterday, right? I always try to critique myself, talk about being a good critique and of yourself and talking about areas for improvement, not on just any one trade, but on large sample size of trades, right? Anything can happen on one trade. This thing can rip, can rocket, can do like 47 different things, right? You can't overanalyze any one trade. But look at the last 20 trades, 30 trades, 50 trades. Every week I like to review because that gives me a few trading days. Then definitely at the end of the month, I like to go back through. But one of my favorite things to do over the weekend is throw positions on the chart for my trades and go back through and look at what I did, right? How was my entries? Did I have a good reason? Was I following my general approach? Was I way out of pocket? Like, do I look back and say, what the heck was I doing? And then next, did I follow my trade management plan overall? And then how did that work out? Am I noticing anything? Am I noticing that, I get stopped out and then the position moves in my favor? Am I noticing that if it starts to move halfway to my stop loss, 90% of those trades go all the way? But even more so, what happens in profit, right? How am I capitalizing on my winners? One thing I'm starting to note for me, I'm running pretty wide stops here on ES, right? And relative to that risk, you have to look at your R multiple. I allow myself discretion to close out trades. You guys watch my trading, you can go back and see this. I typically don't run take profits, and I allow myself discretion to close, right? Based on market-generated information, the tools that I use. I do that because I find that doing that gives me the best edge, the best results, the best P&L, right? Rather than a fixed take profit, fixed stop loss, or just not allowing any discretion. But in general, something that I found is, if you go back through and watch the trading this week, it's a mix. It's a mixed bag, right? I had one day where I held for a longer period of time, came back on me. I had yesterday where I took profit, had a real clear reason to do so looking at Bookmap, and the thing continued to move. But over a larger sample size, not just a couple trades this week, I noticed that if I'm right, I'm often right, and the trade continues to go. And I have reasons, potentially certain instances like I did yesterday, to close, but oftentimes that trade continues to run. And I am getting to a point where it's time for a little bit of an adjustment, right? And sometimes that's just within your discretion, right? A very little bit to say, you got to hold your trades longer. You got to hold your winning trades even longer. Or maybe you get to a point where you say, dude, everyone goes to, 1.5, 2R, or not everyone, but, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, you have to at least hold until this area. So looking at this, here's the example, right? Here's the a clip of a screenshot of the trade playing out yesterday, right? Got short, really nice entry, right? Beautiful entry, wide stop loss. There's a stop loss in here. I'm too zoomed in so you can't see it. Wide stop loss. I got out down here looking at volume and order flow, right? I was really concerned with the orders that we had stacking up around the 45s, that we could find buyers and kick this thing higher, right? How did that play out yesterday? So I got out somewhere down there into the 45s, right? 46s and a half, 45s. Here's the 45s, where I was getting out, right? In here somewhere. This thing ran 20 points lower, right? This would have been more than a max profit, more than I could take on these accounts, right? $1,700 is about where I'm going to clip max profit on these. I can have a take profit in there because not able to go above that without pushing the consistency rule way out. So that's a review of trade management from yesterday. And if I note that I'm clipping my trade, from market generated information for whatever reason, right? Market structure, order flow, price action, and they oftentimes continue to move in my favor, I have to make that conscious decision to hold my trades longer, knowing that some of them will come all the way down here, but come all the way back up on me. But more often than not, they'll continue to run in my favor. So risk management, trade management, I think review. Your data doesn't lie to you, right? When you put your trades on your chart and you put your executions on, that's what you did, point blank, right? What does that look like over the last 50 trades? And you should be able to create a general trend and identify areas for small improvements, right? We're not talking about changing your strategy, adding another tool, none of that stuff. We're talking about what are you doing? What are your inputs on when you're hitting the buy and sell button? You're responsible for that 100%. Is there something you could be doing slightly differently? So that yesterday is a good example of that. Of holding a trade longer. Now, does that always happen? Is every trade going to move? I got short at 60. Is every trade going to move? Let's see how far this was. 37 points in my favor, 150 ticks, 37 and a half points. No, definitely not. Right. I'm not aiming for that. But some of them are, and a lot of them are going to move past a 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1, right? Or past whatever level maybe I'm concerned about looking for a take profit on. So I think paying attention to where my stop loss is going, how much risk I'm putting on, and then taking a look and saying, how much movement do I need in my favor, and then holding that dang trade is important, definitely important. I have it demonstrated to me. I was talking about being on vacation and taking big W's. I tend to do really well. Someone asked me in chat and it made me think about it. I said I was going on vacation, been doing a little bit of trading and stuff. I tend to do really well when I'm on holiday, as the Europeans say. I'm on vacation. And I got to ask myself why that is, right? If you tend to do really poorly during certain times or periods or whatever you're doing, you got to ask yourself why that is. I think it's for two reasons. One, I'm typically in a good mind space, really positive, confident headspace. If I'm around family, if I spent the morning with my 3 little nieces and goddaughters running around having fun, I typically come to the charts positive and happy, and I read them objectively. But also, I tend to, especially if I'm really on the move, I tend to run a fixed take profit and fixed stop loss. I throw the trade on like I was on most of the stuff that I was doing in Switzerland. And the thing just goes. It's going to hit a take profit or stop loss. And that takes me completely out of the equation, right? So, that begs the question, is a fixed take profit and fixed stop loss, better or worse for you, right? All of those things. So that, it's just some things to think about, right? Trading is very difficult. It's very difficult. But I don't think it has to be extremely complicated. I think we overcomplicate the hell out of this stuff that we do. And we're constantly looking at strategy and entries, right? We're constantly looking at the way to figure out what the market's going to do next. And if you back way off of that, and you start to review what you're doing, right? What does your mindset and psychology look like, your understanding of the market? And then what are you actually doing? Do something simple and repeatable. How is that working? Okay, not so great. Let me improve that ever so slightly. That's the basic iterative process for improvement in anything that you do. It's the same with trading. It really is. So I would encourage you to review. If you're not going to journal, I don't know how you're able to track, but at very least, go back, throw some position tools on the chart. What did you do? Does it make sense? Are you doing something with some consistency? What does risk management look like? What does trade management look like? How can you continue to improve? I think that's important. Sometimes to find a trade is difficult. Yeah, speaking of some truth and facts. Let's see. Market's going to fall, but keep going up. Yeah. NQ dropping quickly now. NQ's dropping. Let's see. Yeah, we started to turn there a little bit. Found some sellers again. Not enough though. Not enough, man. CVD is. I'm actually concerned that I take a stop out and this thing does dump. CVD continuing to drop off. We could continue to rise on a falling CVD for a while. We could wick higher before a drop off. This is looking ugly for the move to the upside. This is sell volume really continuing to come into this contract. So that supports it, but continuing to rise. Just not really falling off aggressively. We still have orders up above. We continue to have liquidity that gets stacked up above. That could be a problem. So we'll see. CVD is lining up for me. It was lining up for me when I jumped into the trade. But again, you use the tools that you use. They don't always work out. Dwayne says cancel that. Broke back. Let's see. Yeah, we started to drop off, but this still looks strong. Still looks really strong. Part of the game, man. Take your wins, take your losses, right? I'm not. I don't show up every day just expecting that every single trade is going to be a winner, right? That'd be crazy to do. But one thing, like I was talking about, one thing I got to note is what do my winners look like? What do my losers look like? And unfortunately, yesterday was an example of something that could have been a larger winner, right? Allowed myself the discretion to close early, and that did not help me. Definitely did not help me. And today, and in all of my, trade management with trades that are moving against me, I don't clip them early. I don't do anything crazy. I just let them go. Let them do what they're doing. I find that clipping trades early often means I'm clipping a trade before the stop loss. I'm not trusting my initial stop. I'm really not accepting that risk, and it comes back on me. Comes back to profit. That's what I find more often than not happens. Slightly more often than not. So long way of saying, if I got to take my $987.50 L, which will probably be $990 something with fees, maybe slippage, I will do that. I will do that in stride. I won't. I'll lock it up on these accounts. That'll be it for the day. Happy to lock it up after 1L on these accounts. I got quite a few other accounts that I'm just not finding enough time to trade, to be honest. Working with a live account and a lot of these prop firm accounts. But I've got some 50Ks. I got some 150Ks. I got some stuff to trade. So maybe I find something later into the day. But this is interesting for sure. Let's see, chat. Let's see what we got. Appreciate you guys hopping on. We got a bunch of people. Hit the like button. I appreciate you guys. Let me throw some stuff in the chat here. I didn't even pin it, man. I didn't throw no links in the chat today. We are trading our top 1 futures accounts right here, guys. First off, to whoever said smash the like button, Neo, appreciate you, brother. There you go. Smash the like button. You don't have to do anything. Free means free. I'm here 9:30 a.m. Eastern almost every damn day, showing you what real live trading looks like for me, personally. I don't claim to be the best. I don't have it all figured out. I'm not on all the leaderboards with big P&Ls and all that craziness. I'm just a regular idiot looking to make money in the markets, actually attempting to trade. If you want to know what that looks like for me, I don't have to tell you anything about it because I do it here, free, every damn day. No paywall, no VIP, nothing. You could hop on and watch this stuff play out. If you want to check out my preferred prop firm, Top 1 Futures, here's the link in the chat. They just launched this week new Ignite automatic funding accounts. I got videos out on these. If you guys got questions, feel free to ask. These are the lowest cost, the cheapest instant funded accounts industry-wide. Cheapest ones they have. $149 for the 50K, $89 for the 25K. There's the banner for that one. Code RDF gets you the deal. Link in the chat if you want to check them out. Free 99. That's right. That's how I run my stuff. Free 99, Scott. Make sure we delaying ads. We are going to run a giveaway for one of these bad boys in a little bit. No purchase necessary. You hang out on the live stream with me. Maybe we see if this trade ends up being an L or comes back, turns into a dub. We'll run one of these. Formal drop in the chat. It's free 99. You don't have to do anything. You can fill it out if you want. Basic contact info. And then we run a duck race. We do a random giveaway for one of these accounts. We get somebody funded. Appreciate you guys being on here. As always, like I said at the beginning of this stream, I'm grateful for everybody. Grateful for the community. It's so awesome to see so many people doing well. It's grown so much, and I get messages now almost on a daily basis about people taking payouts, people finding value in some of the things, finding value, talking to other people in the community. If you're not in, link is everywhere. Link is in my bio. Link down below the video. 100% free trading Discord. Again, really free, right? No VIP feeder program. No special thing that I say you have to pay more money to get into. Nope, just free. I yap about stuff like this, and I'm partnered and affiliated with, and I stand to make money from. But this is a nice mutually beneficial relationship, in my humble opinion. You get to use a code if you want a good deal. If not, you don't have to do anything. You can hang out here free, never hit like, never hit subscribe, never join the community, whatever. You could fade me. You could say, that guy sucks. He got short when the market was moving up, and I got long. And maybe you find value there. But we'll run a giveaway in a little bit. 11:08, we'll run one of those in a little bit. Oh, let's see. We're talking about... yeah, we're talking about a bunch of stuff. We will see. Looks like a double top, someone says. Yeah, we'll see, guys. We'll see what we get. Again, I talk about the way that I trade just consistently day in and day out. You can go back and watch my stuff. I think that's important to attempt to do, to stick to your guns, stick to whatever guardrails, rules, if you want to put them as rules, you set for yourself. For me, when a trade's moving against me, not much to do. Really not much to do. When the trade's moving in profit, not much to do except close it when I see fit. And that's the discretion part that I was talking about from yesterday. But I'm probably going to have some more parameters in place, or at least a little bit more of an inclination to hold those winners longer. Finding a lot of them turn out to be bangers. And on more than one occasion, I've not capitalized on that. And think I'm going to be moving even more towards than I already am, holding on to those bad boys to let them come all the way back on me after moving in profit to, half an R, 1 R, and then come all the way back to be a loser if it has to be, in the pursuit of making them, over 1 R, 1.5 R, 2 R winners, right? That's my thought process. W's, what's up, Muhammad? What's going on? Welcome to all the new folks. Yeah, man, we got a bunch of people on here today. 50 some odd here on YouTube. We got not a whole bunch on Kick. 7 or 8 on Kick. We got 27 on X. I appreciate you guys hopping on, man. Growing every day. We got Andrew, what's up on Kick? What's going on? We got a bunch of you guys on. A bunch of you guys and girls on. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Huge order stacking above. Yeah. The 95s and the 6600s have had quite a bit. I still love the CVD dropping off, man. We're at negative 3,500 right now. 3,400. That would be sweet if we just started to dump for me, but I don't know. I don't know that we get it. I'm not in love with what happened. We didn't get a reaction here. I would have loved to see a wick up and a pullback down. We're continuing to have bullish price action to the upside here. Measured moves, we're starting to die out, right? If I look at how far we're pulling back and then continuing to break to the upside, we're starting to slow down here. This one, we're not breaking the high. If we come back down and break the low, that could be, starting to break some structure here, break this trend line to the downside. Not possible, not out of the realm of things that we just continue to grind higher, right? It's that's I was worried about it coming in. I faded that. So I'm gonna have to think hard on that one today. But we'll see. Wolf, you tried Brian Shannon's book? Dwayne asks. Yeah, Brian Shannon's book is really solid. Really solid. Brian Shannon, the godfather of the anchored VWAP. Really solid. Hope it comes back. Otherwise, just accept the loss. We're all humans, though. Yeah. No, of course. It's part of it. Not every day will be green. Dude, listen. Yeah, here's the, you don't even have to say the first part, that we're all humans. You got to take L's. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, my brothers and sisters. We will not have a 100% win rate. Most people, the majority, will not have a very positive win rate, a very high win rate, let's say in the 80s or 90s. I know no traders, let me say, with over an 80% win rate consistently that don't run an extremely negative risk to reward, meaning you're scalping with huge losses and tiny wins, right? So let's say we're going to be around the 50%, 60%, maybe even 70, 75%, right? That means a quarter to a half of your trades are going to be L's. A lot of losses, right? Multiple in a row that you're going to have to take. So if you can't get comfortable with that you did everything right, you have a, here's the goal that we want to get to. We want to get to a spot where we have an edge in the market, right? Or at least we believe we do, right? Let's say we have a 60% win rate and a 1.5 risk to reward. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Very profitable, right? You're going to lose 4 out of 10 of your trades. You do everything right. You follow your approach. You put that trade on. You have a positive % chance of something happening, right? It's not as clear cut as this, but this is kind of the theory. And you know that you're going to make more money when you're right than you lose when you're wrong. You're still going to be wrong 40% of the time, 4 out of 10 trades, and it's not going to be win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. You're going to have even negative variance, and you're going to have multiple back-to-back losses. So if you can do nothing else as a trader, recognize your job is not to be right on every trade. You can't possibly be right on every trade. And if you're trying to be right on every trade and never take losses, you are not doing what you need to do in order to make money in the markets. As much of a paradox as that is, right? Because it begs the question, why would we put money on if we didn't know we weren't going to make money? That's the challenge. We don't know on the next trade, but we can know over a large sample size of trades. So get good at losing, right? It's think about the casino thought process, right? The casino doesn't care when somebody wins a hand of blackjack, right? They don't care when someone hits a jackpot. They don't care. They cheer when people win. Why? Because they know in the long run they have a very small but ever-present edge in every single game, or almost every single game, where in the long run, if enough games are played, a large enough series plays out, they will make money over time, right? So we need to think the same way in trading, or at least attempt to. Keeps us objective. It keeps us level-headed, right? Where we're attempting to follow our approach and not be so skewed in our thought process by a couple wins or a couple losses, right? Same thing with wins. You're going to go on win streaks. You're going to get really hot, right? If you just abandon, your risk management and start doing things differently because you took a couple wins, you're going to blow up. That's the boom and bust cycle. So it's the tough part of trading, but that's the sauce, man. Tried a few times. The top one, still haven't got a payout yet. Coach out before. Got you, man. Got you. Yeah, take it slow, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Or take a break, right? I'm biased, right? I stand to make money from people, buying accounts, buying challenges. But I'm happy to say, you're taking a couple losses, you're not getting the results that you want. Back off, right? Don't hammer the gas pedal when the wheels are falling off your car. Pull over to the side of the road and maybe try to change the flat, right? So maybe that means coming back to demo. Maybe it means just trading one small account, not trading at all, taking a break. But if something's not working, try to work on it. If it's just the fact that you're trading well and you just haven't made it yet, do your thing, right? Keep doing what you're doing. Be grateful in losses. Yeah. Yep. Now I want to go to the Hard Rock in Tampa. Yeah, no, trading ruined gambling for me. I like gambling's fun, right? I think there's a lot of harm that can come from it, right? But I think from the outside, it can be fun to go to the casino, whatever. We all have preferences, but going to play a game where I know there is an edge against me ever present, and that if I stay long enough for a long enough sample size that I will lose, it's not really appetizing. It's really not appetizing, right? I know that I understand now the game of probabilities that we're all playing. I have a bit better understanding of gambling. I'm not talking about poker or really skill set games. Like if you go to play roulette, for example, you might say, Zach, I don't really understand. What are you talking about? If you go to play roulette, right? It's a very common belief that if you have a red and black, right? Most of the wheel is red and black. And if you put, $5 on red and it comes up red, you win $5, double your money. And a lot of people see that as 50-50, right? Because there's black and red and all the pieces are black and red. It's not 50-50. It's less than 50%. Why? Because there's usually a 0 or a double 0 or a triple 0. There's 2 or 3 green slots on that roulette board. And that small amount, that small edge in the casino's favor is all they need to make money in the long run. When you start to recognize that piece, same with with all of the gambling games, that there's an edge against you. It's just not as appetizing. Watching this trade move to the upside, talking about risk management, talking about trading, continuing to push to the upside, looking like a stop out, but trust in the stop. Someone says, why you hold it? That's my process, my brother. That's my process. Hold to the stop. If I have a process that says clip my winners short, I would do that. And honestly, with a CVD dropping off, this looked good for a potential move to the downside, but not at all today. Yep, dead wrong. Faded a bullish move. Slow grind to the upside. In by the skin of my teeth here, but not looking good at all. Didn't find sellers up here off the 85s, although another interesting level where we started to top out a little bit. Could be a wick up before a move down, but no wick to the upside on this 1 minute. Yeah, this looks like a dead one. Part of the game, man. Part of the game. Someone asked, do you add when close to stop loss? No. Absolute cluster above and below price, nuts or no on order flow. Yeah, man. Yeah, back and forth. Still climbing higher. Price still probing higher. We don't have the sellers to take this thing lower at all. Wrong today. Followed my approach, followed my strategy, followed my process. Again, had a little bit of that indication that we could find this bullish grind higher type day. Which we have so far. I'm interested to see how much farther this thing's going to go. It looks like the 6600s, but Really interesting to see on a declining CVD. We definitely popped on CVD for this last jump to the upside, but we're still negative 1,500 after being positive this morning. So really interested to see Delta. But yeah, looks like it's going to be the L for me, man. Part of it. NQ, looking like NQ might get all-time highs. NQ prior day high hit. Yeah, 2 green space. 1,000% agree. Taking a break and reset at the moment. Yeah, hard rock. 67.05 win rate, still a loser. Yeah, man, it comes down to how much are you winning. You know, it's a combination. How much are you winning when you're right versus losing when you're wrong? You know, that's the important note. Win rate and risk to reward. So it comes into play. But as unfortunately I'm looking like I'm getting ready to take a stop out today, we're going to be running a giveaway for you guys that hung out on here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Like I said at the beginning, we're going to be giving away, I'm going to leave this up so we see the stop loss get hit. We're going to be giving away a 50K Ignite automatic funded account coming up here on the live stream. No purchase necessary. This sucks, man. We found some sellers right here. I'd be hard-pressed to say that we don't push a little bit higher and wick above. It's just uncommon that we turn on a dime. In by the skin of my teeth, but that's not a great spot to have a stop loss on this price action that just formed. But anyway, we're going to get ready to do a giveaway. Rule set for the giveaway real quick. Only 1 entry per person. Please don't enter it more than 1 time. Don't spam it. The only thing that you'll do is make sure that you never get entered into any more giveaways and that I ban you for everything for being a greedy person. We do giveaways all the time on the streams. Like I said, we did one yesterday, did one the day before. We're going to keep doing them, chat. Keep giving back to you guys. We got, let's see, we'll get ready to run it. We got 60 people on here. Damn. 61 people on here. It's 30 likes. Guess what, guys? You got to hit the like button today. You're going to have to hit the like button. Giveaway at 50 likes. 50 likes. That's the game plan. Let me throw it in here. If everyone right now, there's been 309 people that have hopped on and off, 309 views. Giveaway at, you'll get to 1,000 views soon. Yeah, man, we're growing every day. It's crazy. 60 today, man. 61? That's nice. That's just on YouTube. We got 30 on X. Got another dozen on Kick. Appreciate you guys. 8 on Kick. Let me be accurate. Appreciate you guys. We're going to say giveaway at 50 likes. If all of you hit the, not even all of you. If some of you hit the like button right now, we'll drop the form on YouTube. If you're on X, I've said this before. I tried to get some likes on X yesterday. You guys are out of luck. Hop on the YouTube here. Ready? I'll throw the YouTube link in X just in case you want to come over. Come on over to YouTube. We can chat. We can talk. I can't even read your chat and stuff on X. So here you go. Come on over to YouTube. Say what's up. Smash the like button and get yourself an entry to win. Otherwise, you can hang out and watch us run some duck races. But there's my link, X, for you guys on Twitter. You guys and girls on Twitter. Damn, you guys are running it up. 43 likes, 44 likes. Nice. Y'all want that giveaway today. That's good. That is good. Giveaway at 50 likes on YouTube. That's going to be the game plan. We got the giveaway form ready to roll. Wait. We got the giveaway form ready to roll. Let's see if we can't run these likes up, boys and girls, and we'll run a duck race. We'll get somebody funded with an account, and hopefully you end up with a better day than me today. Looks like an L for me, getting short on a market pushing to the upside. Got to ask myself about getting short on a rising market bullish trend after some news. Definitely something that I'm going to have to review. But outside of that, process followed. Strategy and approach followed. Got to take some L's. For you guys on Kick, you guys are going to get it too. Don't worry. Don't worry. I see you guys on Kick said something. Let me move to YouTube. You guys are going to get it on Kick. Kick gets the form also. I can read your chat. I can hang out and talk to you. You guys will get it also. But feel free, smash the like button, follow on Kick, whatever you want to do. Give my boy those likes. Jose, what's up? What's up? We can still call it Twitter. Was the first like, am I sure of it? Nice. Nice, man. Still doing Power Hour. Daniel, not really, man. I've kind of backed off Power Hour. Power Hour has just been like not so interesting to trade. I'm going to hop on here, like I said, probably earlier and stay later in the morning. It's just my preference to be trading the main part of NYSE session. So that's what I'm going to do. Power Hour has been fun, but I'm probably just going to run one longer stream here every day like I've been doing. Appreciate you guys because you're being transparent and honest. Yeah, man. Listen, guys. Here's the transparency. Take a look at the chart in front of you, okay? If I didn't want to show losses, if I didn't want to be transparent, I wouldn't be running my P&L and chart directly in front of you all the way to this unfortunate but ever necessary loss, the painful L's that we all have to take, right? Because this is real. That's part of the game. This is what happens, you know? It's kind of ending up to be a back and forth week after taking an L. If I ended with a nice green day today, it would have been a big green week. The size of this one is unfortunate. I've reviewed some of that with you guys. I always try to go through, even yesterday, right? We took an L, but what did I do? I hop back over here and I show you where I got short and how I could have held the trade a lot longer, right? I don't care about like, you know, oh, I don't want to do that. Hang on. You know, if I just wanted to pretend like I was a genius and I figured it out, right? I wouldn't talk about this stuff. I wouldn't talk about the actual process that I do to try to trade well, right? You know, even on a win, I'm looking to be a harsh critique and say, how could I do better, right? How, you know, what in this process is going well? What's not going well? You know, where is this going to hurt me or help me? You know, on something like this, I say, yay, good job, W, good entry, right? What was not great? Exit, right? Trade management. I had a reason to close, right? I had, you know, the area that I was cautious that we might not push below. And that's something that I do consistently that works out well for me. But I'm pointing it out because I've had quite a few of these. I've had quite a few that have really ran in my favor, right? So even on a winning trade, I try to show you the process that at least I attempt to use to get better. And on this one, you know, here we were yesterday, 65.60 short, made it all the way down to 65.45s, right? Here's what I'm looking at. I'm short up here yesterday. Nice. Here's my, you know, here's me getting out for, yay, congratulations, $4,500. Look at how much more that gave me, right? Is that going to happen every day? No. Does it happen slightly more often than not? Am I going to be able to realize more profit, have some trades move farther, then come all the way back? You know, what does this look like? Something I have to review. Definitely something I have to review. And, you know, it stands out on a day like today, right? Where unfortunately it looks like I'm about to take an L. What does my average winner look like versus my average loser, right? If I'm getting to a point where I'm putting almost $1,000 worth of risk on almost every trade, and I'm closing out before $1,000 winner almost every trade, how am I going to end up? With a very positive win rate, a very negative risk to reward. My losses are going to outweigh my winners. And unless I'm going to intentionally run a really, really high win rate in order to support that negative risk to reward, you know, I have to be cautious. I got to look at what I'm doing, right? So, you know, that's the thought process, man. But yeah, it's transparency. Live trading. This is the only way to do it, right? I talk about the stuff outside. I talk about, you know, live account. I talk about other personal accounts. I talk about payouts and wins and losses. But, you know, for everybody here that's listening or watching, this is the only stuff that's worth a damn. This is really it. Live trading. Live trading meaning in real time, consistently showing the entry, the exit, the stop loss also, right? Just talking about trading or showing you a trading view account and telling you what I'm doing on some other thing, that's not helpful either. That's not live trading. This is live trading, right? Unfortunately, that's what we have to do in this day and age. You know, everything can be edited. You know, P&Ls, screenshots, broker statements, live logins. We've all seen it all, right? It can all be edited. All right, 50 likes, nice, man. There we go. We were talking a little bit about first like. Let's drop the form. Go ahead and drop the form, guys. Let's run the giveaway. Let's run the duck races. In by the skin of my teeth, but like I said, not a good spot to have a stop loss. Right above a 15-minute candle. 11:30 a.m. Unless we turn on a dime here, I'm pretty sure I'm cooked. But trust the stop. Got to let it go all the way. Let's see. Form live in the chat. There it is, boys and girls. Go ahead and get that one filled out. Hang on, I'm going to throw it to you guys in kick. Can we get the unfortunate order filled? Not yet. Not yet. In by a point. All right, guys, giveaway form is in the chat. I want to leave this up because just the way I want to leave up my take profits, I'm going to leave up my stop losses too. But it is giveaway time. Let's see. Can it take me out so I can put the graphic up? It's giveaway time. Go ahead, fill out the form. It's attached. I'll give you guys about 10 minutes. We'll yap for a little bit. We won't drag it too long. We'll give you guys till about 11:40 a.m. Eastern. Go ahead, get the form filled out. Only fill it out one time. Don't fill it out more than one time. If you spam it, the only thing you're going to guarantee is that I ban you from future giveaways. We do them all the time. You don't have to do that. You don't have to spam them. Looks like it's going to be the stop. Yeah, man. Just continuing to push to the upside. 6,600 looks like next, man. That looks like what we got coming here. I'd be interested to see if we did not go and climb towards that 6,600 level. Still a negative CVD. Like we did not jump on this just yet. We really didn't. We came off the lows. We definitely came off the lows, but interesting to see a negative 1,000 on cumulative volume delta and price just continuing to rise. Part of the game. So go ahead and get this one filled out, guys, as we watch this unfortunate one. Looks like a stop loss. Not yet, but I'll be right back.
Order filled.
There we go. Got the stop. Part of it, chat. Part of it. Damn, I forgot my water again. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. I don't know. I gotta get better at doing this. Hang on. I'll be right back, guys. Let me make sure ads are off for a second. There we go. There we go. All right. Took the stop. Here's what we got going on for the day, guys. Check it out. Ready? We'll show you some good risk management. Am I going to continue trading these accounts? No. Do I feel the need to lock myself out of stuff like this? No. But guess what? I'm going to go ahead and do it for you guys. We'll lock it out, right? I think if you're done, you should be done. Use the lockout feature. I typically don't use it on here because I'm not taking a full stop out, and we don't have to lock ourselves out once you get past a certain point. But if you struggle with tilt at all, if you struggle with risk management at all, you struggle with the desire to continue trading, but you know you're at a point in whatever accounts that you're on that's your max risk, lock yourself out. Be done with it. But now, man, on review on this one, just real quick. Not a bad trade, not a bad setup to look for it off of this. Wide stop loss to maybe survive a little bit more dancing around up here. But the review on this is I got to ask myself about fading a move to the upside on a day after multiple red folder news events where we don't have anything else coming up in a really bullish market. I got to ask myself about the thought process to do that. I think there could definitely have been another day. There could have been some discretion where I don't get short on this. So I allow myself some discretion with entries, right? It's a little part of what I do, but there's definitely a little bit of thought there. A little bit of thought to be had there. So now that we got that done, giveaway time. You guys know it. The form is pinned in YouTube. We got a bunch of responses rolling in. I'm going to give you guys until 11:40 a.m. It's 11:37 a.m. right now. Go ahead, get the form filled out. If you're on X, check out the chat. YouTube is there. You can come on over to YouTube. You can get the form filled out. You're on Kick. You guys got the form as well on Kick. It is, it's in the chat on Kick. We'll be running some duck races, guys. We're going to be giving away a brand new 50K Ignite automatic funded account from Top One Futures. Shout out Top One Futures. I appreciate them supporting me, supporting you guys. I'm partnered. I'm affiliated. I stand to make money. I can't be unbiased. You want to check this out? Code RDF gets you the best deal. Head to the site. Check it out for yourself. These are up for 2 weeks. These are cooked after 2 weeks. September 21st, they are coming down. So check those ones out if you want to. But that's the account we're giving away, the new Ignite automatic funded account. Let's see. Duck races, reactions. Okay. Oh, let's see what we got. Excuse me, guys. Let's see what we just bought 3 of those. Let's go, man. Sending it. Yeah, you copy trade up to 6 of them, man. It's a pretty sweet account type. You guys can check it out for yourself. Very low cost. It's got some tight rules on it, but pretty wild opportunity at $149 in my humble biased opinion. Oh, that's not the right one. There we go. That's what I want to throw up. All right, let's get this giveaway form loaded up. Remember, guys, form is in the chat. Please only fill it out one time. Don't spam it. Don't use your mother's and your brother's emails. It's going to come straight from Top One, and it goes directly to the email that you put on there. So if you spam it, you use more than one, you're not going to be able to win it anyway. So don't do that. All right. I'm going to give you guys another, let's say another 2 minutes. I said 11:40. I'll give you till 11:41. Go ahead, get the form filled out. We'll run the ducks. Getting the ducks loaded up right now. Let's see. Just adding in some of this. All right, guys. Forum's getting ready to get shut down right now. Go ahead, get it filled out if you want. Remember, you can come and hang out. You don't got to do nothing, man. You can chill with us, watch the market, get some trading in, do whatever you do. All right, cool. Got a couple more people. There you go, Jose. You made it in last minute. All right. Last minute, guys. I see people still rolling in. Come on. Get it filled out. I'm clipping it right now. All right. There we go. One more person made it in. Okay, we're done. We're done, guys. Form's done. Wow, 2 more people made it. Wolf! What? Late to the party, Wolf. Damn. Right under the gun? Wow. As I'm looking at whose names pops up right at the bottom here. I was taking it off. All right. That's why I give you guys a little bit of time because I know people kind of come on and off. Make mine the Batman duck. Yeah, I don't get to do it. Let's see. Now it's saying shake my head. Still not trend broken. Are we dropping? Yeah, let's see. Let's see if it's going to be the gnarly wick out and then drop. This is super bullish, guys. This is, thesis is dead, right? For me, that we get some reaction, we come down, we don't turn this into a big bullish day. This is now a nice bullish day. Maybe we turn down to VWAP, we come all the way back down, but initial thesis is off on this one. This is very strong to the upside, continuing to push. Maybe we get that reversion, the midday reversion, but I'm not looking to fade this again right now. So we shall see. All right. The ducks are getting loaded up. This is going to be for the new Ignite automatic funded account. Let's go. Let's get ready to run it. Let's get ready to go. All right, guys. The ducks are in the line. Throw some ducks in the chat. Good luck, everybody. Remember, if you don't win today, you can win tomorrow. You can win the next day. We're not going anywhere. We're going to continue giving out accounts as long as you guys are on here. Supporting the channel. As we grow, we'll do more giveaways. We'll do bigger stuff. If you want another giveaway, actually, right now, I got one on X. Hang on, chat. Hang on 1 second, chat. Because I'm going to give you guys all of the opportunity. I don't know how much more time I have left on this, but I asked a couple questions in a post on Twitter, on X, because I might start posting a little bit more on there. I don't know. It's pretty rough on there. But I'm giving out a couple $100. So if you guys want a chance to win, there it is. You could do that as well. Like, comment, reply, whatever the BS that I was asking for on there. Ask a question. Let me know what you want to see on traders' Twitter pages. You can do that as well. There's another giveaway for you, right? Try to give you guys all the sauce. You got to do it on X, though, of course. All right, guys, let's run it. 3, 2, 1. Whoa. There we go. Ducks are off. Good luck, everybody. Let's see who takes the cake today. We got a lot of ducks out of the gate. We try not to get too hyped up too early. We know a lot of ducks hit their stop losses. Like to wait on this one. We'll start announcing it like a horse race when we get close to the 30-second mark. Let's see. Send in the ducks. That's a big cluster duck. Jose is the Trump duck. Don't do Twitter. Yeah, hear that. What's up, guys? What's up, ICT Micro Time? What's up, everybody with the ducks? What's going on? Let's see. We got a tight pack here, guys. This is a tight pack. Nobody's running away with it at all. This is going to be a nail biter, I think. I can't even announce it. All your names are overlapping. Bringing up the rear. I don't know. You never know. You never know. Wolf, you're in there. I don't know. You're in there somewhere in the middle of the pack, but you're definitely in there, man. All right, 20 seconds. Kaz, you can't win again. How are you up front? Trader ML, Luca, Alex, H, Phobio, up. Kaz hit a stop loss. Are we going to have a come from behind duck? I don't know. Luca S, Cole making a run for it. Donna H close behind. There we go. Out of nowhere. The red number 33 duck. Cole W. Taking it. Dang, man. Another one. Another come from behind win. Congrats, Cole W. Are you on here? Cole, where you at, my man? Are you on Kick? Are you on YouTube? Everybody, give Cole the W in the chat. Give Cole the congrats. You know we like to have that group mentality here. Cole W. Yeah, what's up? I thought it might have been Colby, but it's not Colby. Cole W. You are Cole Woodward 30 in the chat. Where you at, my man? You gotta claim it. I think I had seen you earlier, but W's in the chat for Cole. All right. With the quacking. Hang on. All right. Cole, you are the winner of the 50K Ignite automatic funded account from Top 1 Futures. Where you at, brother? Oh, I might have comments limited. I think I do. It's all right. Cole's taking the W. Congrats to Cole. Remember, guys, if you didn't win today, you might be able to win tomorrow. You might be able to win the next day. We're doing a ton of giveaways. Giveaways are back. Feel free to hop on the live stream. Market is turning after stopping me out. That was a nice wick above, though. I wasn't going to survive all that. I was definitely not going to survive all that. My stop loss was right here. We got the wick out up here, turning back down. I don't know if we completely go, if we turn back down to the downside. If we do, we'll have to see. Part of it. But that was definitely wide enough for me. I was dead wrong from down here. We continue to rise. CVD still looking ugly, man. I mean, Delta is supporting a turn down. It really is. I mean, how far? Because we're already so damn far extended. I do not know. But Delta is really interesting to see. Being super negative now. Really starting to drop off. So we'll see. Chat. But as always, guys, let's see. ES sneaking to close your entry. Told you, market makers. Damn. Yeah, see, Scott. Now Delta on NQ also negative. There you go. Yeah. Market makers. Yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate you hopping on. This was a good session despite the L. We had a ton of people on, a ton of views, like massive amount of people hopping on the stream. So I'm very grateful to have you guys here. Real quick, if you want to hop in the free Discord, 100% free trading Discord, here is the link in chat. Not a VIP, no paid, hidden something, none of that stuff. Just free sauce. Free live trading here with you guys. Call outs about news, talking about, other trades outside of what I do here on the live session, talking about my trading in general, about prop firms, about the markets, everything. You want an awesome community. I think one of the best out there. I know everybody says that, but I really think I have one of the best communities out there. No hate, no bunch of BS. No superiority between strategies, none of that stuff. Just a whole bunch of different people sharing their journey. That's what this is about. So appreciate you guys for being on here. Thanks for sharing my journey with me. Unfortunately, watching me take an L, but part of the game, man. We know it's not all going to be winners. Remember, guys, quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research and make your own trading decisions. Trading's very risky. Most traders lose money. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop from accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, Code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Talk to you guys soon. See you tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, live here again on YouTube, Kick, and X. Talk to you guys soon.